Welcome to this week's minisode, a shorter, more condensed version of our usual lengthy podcast.
Yeah, hi!
Hi! And this week we are going to be discussing failure.
Yeah, how exciting!
Exciting.
Joy of failing!
So you'll be with us hopefully for 15 minutes or so. Maybe
Yes.
Try that. And we are also on YouTube with this as well, so if you want to catch us later.
And see our faces.
Our very made up faces today. We're trying something new. You can do that as well.
I just did a face, but if you're listening on the podcast, then that's not quite so fun for you, is it?
No.
So failing.
You wrote a really nice post again on Facebook yesterday.
I did.
And post blue stockings.
Yeah, about because a lot of people. I run a network called Blue Stockings with a couple of other women in Nottingham, and a lot of people were talking to me about their marketing of products or I don't know, new online courses. I'm frustrated that it wasn't selling as quickly as they wanted it to, and maybe they'd done kind of a free version of the course, and loads of people had signed up to that. And then nobody had signed up to the paid thing, so the lead capture was working great, but then when it came to getting people to buy their product, nobody wanted to buy it. Which is frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah,
when you put loads of time and effort into something. And so I was talking about actually part of marketing and having a business is just testing ideas out and allowing it to not go 100% the first time and not kind of seeing that as some absolutely terrible thing, but just allowing yourself to learn from those mistakes and kind of move on.
Yeah.
And so some people are like, oh yeah, as if, I'm sure it's not the first time that people have heard of it, but we kind of forget.
I think we do forget, and I've heard a lot of people recently talking about embracing failure and, using it as a learning curve and just taking the bits from that you might perceive as failure, and they're kind of maybe highlighting the points that you need to work on. And I guess some people can't handle
the rejection
or
if they're not getting it right.
And understandably, if you've put money and time into that, that's a really precious resource. And maybe if you're used to things going well first time, or if you're used to other people doing stuff for you, so it works a bit better maybe, and then you do it yourself and it doesn't happen so much, I think understandably you'd be a bit disappointed or disheartened. There's a lot of emotional energy that goes along with these things, so you have quite a big kind of
because if nobody buys your stuff, it's like nobody loves me, like nobody's coming to my birthday party, I'm just here all lonely and nobody wants to hang out with me. It's really personal, isn't it? And I think some people that's if you run an event and you're like, I think only 20 people are coming, oh my god,
great, I'd be like, brilliant. I think I do a lot of stuff for myself, and recently I'm trying to ask and pay for more help, so I'm finding it kind of almost opposite. I'm used to having things the other way around, it's failed, it's probably because I'm doing it and I need to learn this and this and this next time. So I think from somebody who does it themselves mostly and learns as they go, it's probably kind of more normal for me to fail and be like, oh, I will learn for this one next time. And I think maybe it depends on your character.
And I think there's a thing with being a perfectionist, isn't there? When you're putting something out there, some people don't want to put it out there until it's 100% perfect. So they're spending loads of time on it, and they're revising and asking people what they feel, and they feel that they've got to the point where it's amazing and perfect, and then it goes out and it's not, and nobody likes it.
And I think I think it's really important to put things out there before they're polished and perfect. And I'm trying to do that way more now. Especially now that we've got the Women Who Creates Facebook group, I'm testing things out there, and other people are as well. There's been a few women who have been like, right, I'm doing this Kickstarter, which option should I choose? And that's so valuable, because otherwise you do set yourself up for that horrible heartache of, oh, nobody's bought it, nobody signed up for it.
And Facebook groups are great for that, actually, aren't they? To just
post polls as well.
Yeah, exactly. Or just say, I've got these 2 ideas, which is better. Or I've got these 2 kind of marketing images. Which one do you prefer?
However, obviously, it always has to come down to you at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's your choice. But I think if you know that especially if you know your target audience is in that group, then it's really good to get their feedback. And a lot of people are working at home on their own, and they don't get any feedback. So to be able to have a group I think sometimes people shy away from doing that because they want to look like they've got it sorted.
Yeah.
And if you go and post up in a group and you go, I'm not really sure between these two things,
which is
the fear is that people will be like, well, I'm not gonna
buy that.
I'm not gonna buy that because they don't know what they're doing.
Whereas it should be, oh, my opinion is valuable,
Yeah.
brilliant. It's more tailored to me then, surely.
Yeah, and I think that people appreciate people asking them and being part of that journey and seeing the growth and then believing in them and wanting to support them along that way.
So the
ladies see it as a positive.
Yeah, oh no, absolutely. And the Blue Stocking ladies, were they quite a varied mix of different projects that they felt like they'd failed, or was it quite specific to marketing?
Yeah, one lady was writing wills, another one was running kind of events in France with families, doing holistic retreats. Another woman is an amazing kind of hormonal therapist lady for people going through the change and sleep and stuff. So quite like a really varied bunch of different things, sort of saying, I've tried this and I've done that. And my advice was just go back to the very beginning. And if you know the product's great and you know you've got really fabulous testimonials and you know that people love working with you, it's not the product, it's just somehow you're missing something in the way that you're writing it, or they're not getting the point, or
maybe it's the wrong channel.
Yeah, or maybe it's the wrong channel, or maybe even it's the wrong price, which is something we should definitely talk about in one of these minisodes, because that's the biggest thing with business. But rather than kind of feel like banging your head against the wall, just go, right, what can I learn from this?
And perhaps move on. It's just a small tweak that needs to be made. Exactly. And I found previously with like promoting workshops and stuff, word of mouth has been like, if you can contact somebody with marketing, like who can recommend you or share it with their group, for me that's been massive. But yeah, it sounds like that they all had really varying experiences of it.
Yeah, and I think, like you said about the small tweaks, I think that's really good, because sometimes you see that something's wrong and then you go back and just do it completely differently. Yeah, so how can you measure them against each other? I've just suddenly popped into my head. So I was in contact with the Pool, the online ladies magazine. Fabulous. And I wanted to pitch them a story about my kind of personal life. And they were so wonderful, because they were like, not only can you pitch it, but we'll pay you to write it. I was like, oh my God, this is great. I'm going to get all this PR and publicity, and I'm going to get paid to write the piece. And I wrote it and I sent it off, and she was a bit like, and I was a bit like, oh, it wasn't really as good as it could be. And that kind of, you know, loads of people say, oh, you're a really good writer. And it was a story that's really personal, so you want to get it right. So I went away, and instead of just perfecting what I'd written, I wrote a whole nother different angle. It was 100, just completely different. Yeah. And then sent her that, and then she was a bit like, So
I see. Yeah, because I wondered, because you mentioned that before. That's
So instead of just tweaking the thing that I'd already made, I just went, well, that's no good, and went and wrote a completely other thing. Where actually she kind of liked what I'd already done, and just wanted to tweak it a little bit. So the end of that story is she's gone and got married, and she's going to help me rewrite it when she comes back, which is lovely for her.
Fantastic. But she wants your original piece.
I don't know. We've not had that discussion.
Or maybe
maybe neither of them. But obviously she can see something there. But you know, a bit of me was really disheartened, and like, I think I'm a really good writer. Yeah. Maybe one day I'm going to write a book. Maybe I'm terrible, and I could have kind of fallen into a bit of a pit of despair. But I just thought, oh well, it's a really good opportunity. Even if nothing comes of it, I'll have made a contact with somebody that might be useful. And so it's taking the good bits out of it.
It is taking the good bits out of it, but it's also being brave enough to ask for feedback from people that have maybe previously contacted you. I've done that before when I did some craft courses online, and I knew that I had quite a lot of response to like the taster and the video, and then not many people had bought it. And so I just emailed people and said, look, what was it that drew you to the initial thing? For sure. And it is shit scary. Oh, you know, and some of it was price, some of it was like the platform. But having that feedback,
it's invaluable, isn't it?
Totally. And I'm doing that now with the membership that I'm trying to build. It's just asking people, like, what do you want? What is valuable to you? Yeah. So I guess.
Yeah. So I that's happened to me actually. Is that I ended up going to a 2-day course in London on PR. And I'd kind of decided that it was a bit too much and I couldn't afford it and
Yeah.
I wanted to go next year. And the woman who runs it said, can I just have a Skype conversation with you? And just wanted to know why I wasn't booking.
Yeah.
And she just hit it head on and
Yeah.
did that with all the people, because she could see in her stats who'd opened the email,
Absolutely.
who'd gone to the link,
Yeah.
and who hadn't bought.
Mhm.
And she was following it all up. And she got loads of people buying because she took the effort to ring
Yeah.
and then go, well, these are your concerns and these are the reasons why I think you should book.
Yeah.
But obviously that's up to you.
Yeah.
So actually, rather than just going, nobody's bought, totally get in touch with them,
Yeah,
give them
exactly.
a ring. Like,
Yeah.
we're all humans. They're human, we're human.
And that's the value that they're paying for, is that kind of personal touch and you putting that extra time in. I did something similar with the Bristol Women Who Creates weekend. There was a couple of women who were like, it's a bit much for my budget, and then we just had like a phone conversation, and by the end of it they were like, it's not at all as like businessy as they had maybe read in the blurb, and they signed up. So yeah, I completely agree that I've had first-hand experience of that, and it is brilliant.
Maybe that's a lesson to change the blurb as well, make it a bit less businessy, which you would never know, would you?
No, but
you would have had that conversation. You'd just be like,
yeah, exactly. They wanted more of like the personality, less of the kind of the outcome of the weekend.
Yeah.
Which is great.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. They wanted like the more woo-woo side, the more like holistic side.
Which sometimes you feel would put people off.
Well, exactly.
The woo-woo.
But now I'm embracing it.
Yeah, embrace the woo-woo.
Yeah, so failure. So I think most people that I speak to recently have gone through that kind of failure stage with many things and like got back up and carried on. And I think with my previous business, the craft business, our studio, which we had to close that down because financially we couldn't afford it. That would have been seen from the outside potentially as a failure.
Yeah.
But we were like, oh my gosh, we can get our finances back on track. That's amazing.
We're free.
And and by the end of it, we were like, thank fuck, we're free and we don't have to, have all this responsibility. And then that's when I had time to kind of take a step back and go, oh, that isn't what I want to do, but I was tied into a 5-year contract. So actually, sometimes having a failure gives you a bit more space to.
Well, always.
Yeah.
Because life is always. Because like life, I like to think of life like snooker. Is that you're going in one way and then somebody just comes and whacks a ball in your face, and then you're like hearted in another direction.
Yeah.
And it wasn't where you intended to go at all, and then you bump into other balls that you didn't even know existed, and before you know, you're having this ball party, and you thought you were just going down the road to the hole at the top. So just wait for the balls to hit you in the face.
There it is.
That's what I'm going to say that one. Just wait for the balls to hit you in the face. Yeah, and don't be a perfectionist.
I think that's
Throw it out there. See what sticks.
So many analogies, so many. Wow, so visual, so visually descriptive.
All these sticky balls.
How do we end this?
Beautiful.
It is. Yeah, I'm glad that came up in that conversation yesterday. I'm all for, and maybe that's it. Failing. There's so many everything's so shiny and like polished on Instagram, and people are like setting you up to feel like you're a failure because you don't, subscribe to that aesthetic. Like,
maybe you wake up with a big zit on your face and you're like,
I wake up with like a cockatoo every day, and like I'm just
love your
embrace
cockatoo.
it.
Go for it. Like, make it bigger. Get more gel in it.
Can I do that?
It's the back of her hair, by the way. She doesn't literally have
sorry, it's the back of my hair.
On her.
I've got short hair.
And now I've done something terrible with my hair. And the last thing we're out. But I was just going to say, when we're like kids, I remember like wanting to try things. Like, I'm going to try violin, or I don't like it. I'm going to try this, or I don't like it. And my mum being like, you can't keep trying things and stopping. You have to like work at it. And actually, it's fine to try things and then go, didn't like it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
How do you find what you do like if you don't test it? Actually, it's really important to find out what you don't like.
Absolutely. It's important to try lots of different things because, how else do you learn? You can't be expected to just be the master of all things.
You can't be expected to be the master of all things. So, the ending is fail happily
and get back up.
And try new things.
Ask for help, or just sit on it for a bit and see how it feels.
Sit on it.
Okay.
Happy days!
Happy days.
So we'll be back in a fortnight.
Back in a fortnight with an interview with
somebody.
Oh, we won't tell you now. And we look forward to your comments and feedback on our Stitcher and on iTunes.
And on iTunes.
And
at Debbie Doodah.
At Debbie Doodah. Edit. And at womenwhocreateuk.com. And if you want to contact us with any topics you want to discuss, or let's do a 15-minute chat about, then do.
Fine. Love to you all.
See you soon.
Bye.